Where you murdering the beat?
Red flag, wave it. Red tag, save it. Red, green, what that means, Moorish lands, bourbon. Who got claim LB, not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, all pristine and so awful. Know thyself, the father from my aunt capstone. Rip the ground, we put it back to top. See some real engineering, really no Indians near here. Blackstone from the next planet. Still you have no talk, you just a stick faggot. Batman still up in the cave, he got some sick gadgets. Nigga rich run a whole city with no power till apocalypse now. In the door coward. Red flag make a 7 as it raised. A flag above many that has waved. Self I'm here to save. I'm an all-neck, got a lot of lip, chopped up to say back up. You see the red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Moorish lands bourbon. Who got claim LB, not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, all pristine and so off. Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what that mean, Moorish lands bourbon. Who got claim LB, not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, some obscene, some cordial.
I value representation. This flag represents a nation, collecting information, tracing our roots, not chasing, pacing our progress, doing more, saying less. Black, white, gray, MSF, RBG in our breath. The depth of what we do is best presented by how we grew. What's true is ear of the beholder to proof answers question over. Some call it closure, prefer to say we open since we still scoping for knowledge and others now awoken. Open little to not, prefer work, plan, plot, strategize to maximize the probability. We sock caught between honor and a smart place. The decisions that we make, ripple effects minor or great, still I appreciate.
Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Moorish lands bourbon. Who got claim LB, not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, all pristine and so on. Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what that mean, Moorish lands bourbon. Who got claim LB, not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, some obscene, some cordial.
50,000-year-old ancestral claiming, flag in the ground, hear the flapping fabric sound. Red for the bloodshed or celestial realms. When all you see is feathers and turbans, be overwhelmed. Standing on the squares, independent and fearless. From lower self to higher self, with no interference. 5-point star is her. We call her Venus. My niggas are Nagas. Impropriate persona genius. In 3, 5, or 7 plus. Whenever you see us, Moorish national disciples, Prophet Ali and Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. The same frequencies preceding all man-made religions. Displaying decency. Secret teaching of the ages. The heart is where the life is. Osiris is Orion, Horus, Mars, Sirius, Isis. Clear conceptions of your work during a crisis. Rep my flag till I'm dust or the husk is lifeless. Rep my flag, red, green, 5-point star, no gold fringes. Stand on my square, no liberty infringes. No rights violated, no Negroes emancipated. All they know is castrated and decapitated. Red flag, 5-point star.
Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Moorish lands bourbon. Who got claim LB, not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, all pristine and so on. Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what that mean, Moorish lands bourbon. Who got claim LB, not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, some obscene, some cordial, tops turban.
Grand Iron Sheep. Imagine Earth was one landmass, I was first. I touched on rights from birth, I'm not cursed. Still one landmass, I reach Atlantis. Fell in an abyss, now the first land split. Abyssinia, let's make sense, don't forget. Still one landmass was Kush and Kemet. Branching south and north, east and west. Some stayed the path, some strayed in experiments. A few ciphered, and many deciphered. Cracking sacred genetic codes, creating a hybrid. By the time we reach Asia, Noor and Asia saw Kemet fell and made the custodians Moors. You're probably asking what happened to Kush. Into Kemet is where he got pushed. Pyramids of Egypt show our greatness. Put ourselves on the wall so you can't debate this. Back on course, since I navigate giftly. Moors took the Nile back home to the Mississippi. Some took the knowledge over centuries shared with Spain. Thought they would see Northwest of Maxim again. By this time the great earthquake shift the earth plates, and harbors say Europe is their birthplace. When we had Europe, the mountains caucus. Evil scientists and politics have meetings caucus. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought real was fake. That's chemtrails, not clouds in the sky. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought real was fake. That's chemtrails, not clouds in the sky. A Moor is a black person, especially Negro, who claimed Jesus, son of God, under a steeple. Moors are Moabites, so was Ruth. Jesus' great-great-grandmother is Ruth. Jesus is a Moabite too, so he was a Moor. Circle 7 was the 5 fish and 2 bread they saw. Buddha is a mind state caused by the mudra. Kali Yuga is the magic of the Kama Sutra. Spirit mother, black sons of God and man. Our niggas on the block with the Glock in hand. Niggas are the Nagas of Angkor Wat. When we lived abundant with bank or not. Here is where we enter new evidence of how the Satan rules, creating current events. Broke the Albion, were the creators. Evil scientists that look just like us. Lost their pigmentation, didn't lose the knowledge. Infiltrated the hybrid seed to abolish. It's all in your blood, many watch faces and skin color. Misnomers classify races. A few learned a lesson, many chose to stay. The rest are just pawns in this global game of commerce. They reverse, we are verse. Fake Adams that stole the lessons get Drew Ali cursed. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought high was low. Imagine what you thought fast was. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought high was low. Imagine what you thought fast was. Put it all together, I have Moorish science. You have blind faith in the story of tyrants. See my fez on me and call me a shrine. Or when its tassel is tacked down, I'm flowing like minor. Hiding in a lodge called Arabic names. Unabridged definition of Arab is my claim. When you say a white man did it, you mean yourself to the ethers. And as nations know, you don't know yourself and keep us in subjugation. Always retaliation against the wrong enemy and got the wrong remedy. Pulse racing from false education, appearing real with no qualification. You took your knowledge and now you act like a pagan, worshipping men and rabbits egg laying. It's crazy, will only faze me if I'm lazy. Stay focused on the youth and maybe monkey wrench the plan with thought power. Time is an illusion, Babylon is down in short hours. If Zion is like the Matrix, it's going down too. Agents against Ra get backed in corners like coons. Swing and miss, knock down all your wickets. Rapping words, speaking pro, say I hear crickets. Screw face your brother, but watch the judges faceless. You created them, and now you're nationless. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought high was low. Imagine what you thought fast was.
Raka! North Star! That way. The North Star's that way. Canaanland moves. Read our pay every day. Uplift the V cause we are base. We enforce the law and we obey. Forefathers from before is still today. Reading my Quran and my Torah. Universal laws in more rays. Read 4 chapters, receive it 4 ways. Great divine love rules our verse. Before I circle blocks, man, I circle 7's first. You bust the image, but your rhymes hurt. Declare 13 disrespected earth. Love, but it's all in God's plan. Today's mathematics don't judge a man. Unity of life, embodiment of truth. I'm responsible for every deed, cause I seen the proof. No, but Drew X, do I have to draw it out for you? Cause nationality is not a color I can use. Jerry Spruce, standing on my square, even without shoes. On the highest authority, spirit of blue. Marcus Coffee, whirlwind times 2. The world's in the wind when the trumpet blew.
Stand up, go into your bathroom. If you got a big floor to ceiling, cut the light on and sit there and take a good hard look at yourself. You are the Moorish government, you know, and it took me a long time to get to understand that concept. I self-law am master. myself, if I can govern my household, that's what I should be doing. Why should I walk out of my door and then leave everything that I know about myself in the house to go out and adopt something that I have no knowledge thereof? No sense. So we need to stop asking that question. I ask myself this question: if not me, then who?
Death and wisdom, my friends, intelligent creatures, guardians of sacred knowledge, Olmecan features, secrets of the afterlife, manifest the present day. Dirty Moors and scoundrels lose their heads in a pleasant way. Deceit and deception, negative past thoughts, keeps awareness on point. Spirit messages never off. Inner realizations, encounter the higher selves. Next plane existence, explains my consistence. Without a foe you never know, so path most resistant. Divinity, my twin flame, side chick and mistress, metaphysic, Kabbalistic, Almaroc mystic, patriarch, papistics, make my thoughts sadistic, so indigenous, call me Americanistic, invoking the ancestors, Saracen cryptic, suns on rotation, flows ecliptic, shatter all illusions, reveal the realistic, sitting in the dark, holding the light marvelous, recognize the artifice, skin so carbonous, hair so antenna, I feel them from Vienna, myriad of virtues, lessons, in reptilian henna, enlightenment seekers won't find it in mainstream. Focus as a laser, stay balanced like a beam. Not even a gymnast. Whenever I flip this, as above, so below, get out when within this. Don't think I'm a slave cause I speak in English. Drew Ali the water, watch your flames get extinguished. Living in your higher, lower self is relinquished. Reputation of master teachers, call it distinguished.
Never catch me slipping. Pull up in spots we got the drop, they never paid attention. Know about the pissing, dirty project calls, conscious missing. Got people jumping on my line like I was going fishing. Bow to my sires. Past life flash right by us. Spike your food so you can't digest. I can't digress. Shining on vampires who can't process. The moon over campfires. We on the move, breaking rules. No, they can't tie us, can't buy us. Manila envelope deny us. Control times, haters still clocking. Got dirty Moors trying to resurrect the show for the real profit. They trying to get the profit like a dollar sign and brackets. Game of tennis, nigga, I'm just here to make the racket. These crooked governments got royalties and cuffs, and all we got is nationality. Like art inside a gallery, so pardon my mentality. Bloodline stretching like an empire. That's all the way from Barbary to Tartary. My mind's ecclesiastic, prophets show me proofs inside the circle 7. Asiatic, we not Negro, black or colored. Don't thuggin' not for nothing, never catch me slipping. Pull up in spots we got the drop, they never paid attention. Know about the pissing, dirty project calls, conscious missing. Got people jumping on my line like I was going fishing. Back on my mission, packed up all my ammunition, packed off all this competition. They don't got this kind of vision, no. These are the new days of our lives. While my time be ticking, copy by the minute. Got these chakras spinning.
7 in the quadrants, G between the compass squares, Samson between Boaz and Yoakum. Never scared, ships arrive in thousands. We are not alone the way some think. I think they are not us but clones. Looking up drones, staring back. Got track 5G phones, implants, check their heads and their backs. Adam's apple big, what kind of female is that? Eyes color change like a chameleon, plus underwave tracks. Why you sticking out cyborg holes, Miss Frankenstein? No protection needed, self-lubricating vagina. So anthropomorphic, can go for more dick than he can give it. An android goes livid. Skynet is NSA, surveillance is global. Since refusal to be noble, force creed is Constantinople. Force GMO, nanotech, air clouds. Sound weapons, heart attack guns for non-social distance crowds.
Bone thuggin' not for nothing, never catch me slipping. Pull up in spots
realized we got the drop, they never paid attention. No pot to pissin', dirty project calls, conscious missing. Got people jumping on my line like I was going fishing. Back on my mission, packed up all my ammunition, backed off all this competition. They don't got this kind of vision, no, no. These are the new days of our lives. All my time he taking, copy by the minute. Got these chakras spinning, spinning, spinning.
He hurt. This is what you need to know. Stuff you need to know, fellas. Ladies. Stuff you need to know.
Identifying as black, Negroes, or colors, but the idea of, oh, you got to do this paperwork and you fill out this, that, and you pay for this, and all of that is where it gets off track, and that's not what this movement was designed for.
To your best recollection, when did that start? Because I've always, even me growing up, it was always assumed or associated with correcting one's status. I can't remember a time when it was not associated with it.
That's a beautiful question. So to backtrack, for me, I learned about Moors 2011. Yeah, October 2011.
Right.
So, this journey has been, I'm 11 years in or so. And more recently, I've started to understand where some of these teachings and where some of these ideologies have been stemming from. And at least from what I can see so far, that a lot of those ideologies, a lot of that idea of status correction seems to be tied to Taj Tarik Bay going back as far as 1982.
Okay.
I can't say for certain, okay, this is where it started, but at least from my research, that's as far back as I can see where this kind of rhetoric or ideology began to be introduced.
So he can't say how it really started, but he's going to mention Taj Tarik Bay. Taj Tarik Bay. You know who that is? You know who Taj Tarik Bay is? You don't know who Taj Tarik Bay is. You don't know. You don't know who Taj Tarik Bay is if you're bringing him up in some BS. Because anybody who says that there are more, anybody, I don't care who the hell they think they are, if they don't mention that they learn from Taj Tarik Bay, watch these people seriously. I don't care what they say after that. But if they don't mention that in my traveling into becoming a Moor, I bumped into some video or whatever by Taj Tarik Bay, and that stuff just blew my wig back. Because that's just what it is, you know what I mean? If anybody knows that name, Taj Tarik Bay, if anybody knows that name there, right, knows that if they watch 10 minutes of Taj Tarik Bay, they're going to be so messed up after the 10 minutes that they might even be questioning their own sanity and stuff like that because of Taj Tarik Bay. Right? Someone who is going to speak and what they're relaying to you is forcing you to go study. Because you're like, what? What did he just say? He just said what? No way that's real. And you go check and it's real? Anybody who says that there are more and they are talking crazy or disrespecting or whatever Taj Tarik Bay, no problem. No problem. Your question to them should be, did you learn anything from him? Now, if they say yes, they learned, then that disqualifies everything that they're saying negative. Unless it's a campaign. Unless it's a somebody sent somebody to talk negative about the most influential Moor next to Noble Drew Ali. Because I don't know any Moor who knows any other Moor more than those two Moors, as far as from 1900s and moving on. You ask any more, hey, who put you on this info? Oh yeah, Noble Drew Ali and Taj Tarik Bay, off the top. You're not even bringing in Prince Uriel Bay yet, and CM Bay and C. Freemanella and all that. You're not even bringing them in yet. We're just talking about one Moor who had so much influence among Moors that any Moor talking crazy knows somebody sent them. I don't care if they got paid or didn't pay or whatever. They're talking negative about Taj Tarik Bay. They are sent people to make you give up your birthright. They are sent people. We already told you, honors to ChalifaMedia.com, 77 amazing facts about the Moors. We already told you that we have the donkey for him. He's the Negro. It's not a Moor talking to you. Donkey big mad because he's sold out. I don't care what he took. I don't care what he got. I don't care what he didn't get. Because when you go and you check, their catalog, right? We're saying their catalog because we know somebody sent him. And then you go through all the videos, and then he has videos particularly about Taj Tarik Bay. Why would he have videos about Taj Tarik Bay? Why would he have all these videos about Taj Tarik Bay? What's the purpose? Because it's a campaign. Right. The difference between Taj Tarik Bay and elders in the so-called black community that I hold dear is because I've been in situations as black, as conscious black guy, that our own stress our leaders to death with no regard for anything that the individual who they stressed into a stroke. Right? The difference is that Taj Tarik Bay knows he's a Moor and he doesn't give a F about any of what these people say. He's going to go out there and he's going to do what he's going to do because that's what the hell you going to do. What are you going to tell him? You're going to tell him he can't do something or he shouldn't do something? Everybody's grown. Stop the follower stuff. So now all these videos about Taj Tarik Bay talking crazy. And again, this is not just him. We're talking about sent people. We're talking about people who are sent. People who are sent. There's always your own. It's always your own. Whether it's a positive or a negative, it's always your own. And the negative is what you have to be mindful for. As individuals parade around to make, to make it seem that this is not real, that this is not a tangible thing. Like, this is a tangible thing. We have a building with a sign on it, says Moorish Science Temple of America. Ask any of these people out here, where's their brick and mortar spot at? You could walk in the doors of a spot. This is not some online thing. This is reality. This is not the fake stuff that these people are doing, talking crazy about Taj Tarik Bay. Because the only reason they would talk crazy about Taj Tarik Bay is if somebody sent them. Because nobody shouldn't have anything to say negative about Taj Tarik Bay. What are you going to say negative? To say something so we can slap you. Say something negative. Just like people talking crazy about Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Talk about, Prophet, Profit, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Islam to all the Moors. The hell out of here. Slap these people. And FOH Will Smith. It's all about Pookie. We already know Will Smith took it in the butt. We already know. We already know. What he did to his son. What are you talking about? Guys, girlfriend is a boy. This is dumb stuff you're talking about. So F him. I'm not riding with him either. The Boinker guy. I'm not riding with him. Even though, Chris Rock dressed up in drag and tried to kiss Fresh Prince. Don't forget. Don't forget the drag stuff with Chris Rock. But he did do the Good Hair documentary, so his karma's canceled. What the hell are you talking about? His karma's canceled. He gave it back. You can't say he didn't give it back. He told you, all you dumbasses, all that hair that you're spending finance on, that's some people giving hair to gods over there. And then you're bringing that hair over here, wearing it, and you think you're not that judgment. What do you think they cut the hair off for? Because it's dead stuff in there. The hell are you talking about? You're going to wash this and then now it's clean and then we're going to put this in our head or whatever. What are you talking about? That's some people who they're getting rid of all their sins, they shave their head and donate the hair to the ancestors over there. And then you're bringing that hair back here, wearing it, and want to know how come everything's messed up. Think how messed up that is. Think how messed up that is. It's that type of madness that we're up against. Why? A prophet came and set everything straight, so we don't have to be in any of this BS that we're going through right now, that we're seeing in front of our face, right in front of our eyes, like our nose, and we don't want to accept the fact that that's what it is, playing games. Keep playing games. Like I said, we got brick and mortar and all that stuff. We know that there's Moors. We know they come to the temple, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't like, this is not some online thing. There's actually Moors. There's actually Moors right now, riding the bus right now, listening to the thing. He's a Moor. And then he's going to go to work and whatever like that. And they're, hey, Mr. Morocco, how you doing? And all that stuff. And you think we don't know what we're talking about? You really think we don't know what we're talking about? But then you realize, just like the movie Cell, it's a time loop. Our people are nuts. They're in a time loop. They're not going to get out of it because they don't want to have a nationality.
All right, then keep spinning. You know? Keep spinning. That's what they want you to do. Keep spinning. They don't want you to be centered and focused and balanced. They want you doing the stupid dances, going up escalators and boxers in the mall like a dumbass. That's what they want you doing. That's what they want you doing. In your socks like a dumbass. That's who you are. You used to build pyramids and stuff like that. Now look at you, dumb nigger. Doing some dumbass dance. That's all. That's all you know how to do. Dance and play sports. That's all. Bunch of savages. Don't have no knowledge of self. Absolutely lost. Prophet came, brought them everything to save a nation. They denied him. Allah sent a messenger, Taj Tarik Bay, to you, telling you same stuff Nur Jwali was telling you and more. And now you're talking crazy. You were on the stage with him. How come you lectured with Taj Tarik Bay and now you're talking crazy? And we're talking about any of these people, not just Donkey Man. We're not talking about just Donkey Man only. We're not talking about Donkey Man only. We're talking about any Moors talking crazy about Taj Tarik Bay. Somebody sent them to do that. They can't be doing that out of their own personal vendetta. What the hell what do? You take your girl or something? Is that you're mad at Taj? That's why? You came in and your girl was watching Taj Tarik Bay instead of the black BS that you told her to watch, and now you're mad? Why are you so mad at him? All these videos and all this stuff. What did he do? You found out your mom was watching him in the back? Not even watching her husband's sermon or some BS? That's what it was. It was your mom. You caught your mom watching some Taj Tarik Bay lectures and you're mad. Don't be mad. Give honors to the master teacher. Don't play games with Moors who look at Taj. I slept in the same room with Taj Tarik Bay. And we didn't talk any more science, nothing. Just chill. What are we doing? Setting Rob Bay's in another room with Moor, and the Moor's like, yo, I'm in here with Setting Rob Bay. What the hell is this? Moor's going in the lecture with Taj Tarik Bay and Aleem Bay, Setting Rob Bay. Like, what is this? This is what life has become? Lecturing with the master teachers? This is what it is? It's real like that? Because while you guys look at LeBron and all that stuff, we look at Taj Tarik Bay and Hakeem Bay and RV Bay Publications, and those are our superstars. Our superstars aren't a dumb nigger. It's not our superstars. Our superstars are C. Freeman L., Delbert Blair. That's our superstars. Dr. Ben. That's our superstars. You know? I remember seeing Dr. Ben sitting there in the chair telling these Rastas, Selassie's dead as a dog. Stop the dumb stuff. Selassie he's a man. I'm Ethiopian. I'm telling you. He's dead. Ain't no Jesus stuff and all that stuff. What are you talking about? Rastas were mad. Big mad. And I'm Rasta those times. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm saying we could see Haile Selassie. He's not God or something or whatever like that. He gets supreme honors. But he's not God. Stop the dumb stuff. That's why I couldn't get with that. So our superstars are the master teachers who laid it down before us, that you watch their thing and you're holding your head like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Oh my God, what just happened? I just put this thing on and then I opened my eyes again and the whole world was not what it was just because some more talking. Stuff is next level. But you have to be hip to the game. That this is your birthright. This is not something that somebody could give you some temple because Noble Drew Ali brought a temple. That's the only place you're going to find out about Moors. No, it's not. Because half those people sold you out. Half those people saying Moor Science Temple of America, they sold you out. They've been sold you out since 1930. It's 2022 right now, so what do you mean? What do you mean you're looking at them as they're some authority or something? What you mean? You ever wonder how we're Moor Science Temple of America and you never heard us go to any of these conventions that these people are having? The last convention was the one that we went to, 2008, when the Moors gave us the mantle. Carry on the legacy of Noble Drew Ali. You don't listen to anybody who calls yourself Grand whatever, Supreme whatever, Supreme Grand whatever, Queen, King, Pope, whatever. You're Canaanland. You're the only temple there because you got it there. Not because of any of these traitors who their job was to make sure there's a temple there that you don't even have to come to Chicago. But I had to go. Because once you find about Drew Ali, it's just gonna work. You don't have to do anything. Put him up front and just sit back, cross your legs, and just watch the stuff just manifest. And when we were brought into this in 2008, we got all the lesson books of Taj Tarik Bay 2008. Didn't know what we had till 2011. Didn't know what all this stuff really was till you actually go through it all. And you get to the point to realize that, we have nothing, everybody's sold out. Everybody became a traitor. Stopped looking out for the nation, and everybody was looking out for themselves. And those who had hands, who had the keys, they opened the big safes. And they got their whatever, and they did whatever they did. Let me stop blabbing.
You know what I mean?
And I concur that because I grew up in the 80s and my pops was cool with NOI, Moors, 5%ers. And it was always like, if you want your stats correct, you go to this, you go to them. You know, so I grew up like, it was just assumed, it was almost like a natural fact.
Yeah, because everybody else sold out. Because everybody's supposed to be telling you about status correction. Everybody knows that name on the back of the jersey in all caps. That's not their name. Their award. Their award. Their property. In order to get out of the property jurisdiction, you have to proclaim your nationality, or you're not getting out. That's all. That's just what it is. Don't get mad. Try to find your way to get out. Which you're not supposed to have to find your way. You're supposed to just go down there to the Moor Science Temple of America and get your stuff done. But they didn't do their job since the 1930s, which is why you have a Taj Tarik Bay saying the Moors Order of the Round Table and putting out the information that these temples were supposed to be putting out since 1930 that they didn't. And we're telling you this as a Moorish Science Temple of America. We have a charter for a temple. We're not some online thing. We have a building. You can come in there and sit down, drink a juice, build with Moors. Then you can send your children to the basement. Or you go into the bookstore. You know how to, put together a little snack or something like that. You got a kitchen right there, your stove and stuff, a fridge, and do your thing. Just because it's a temple. It's there, sitting there. Every day, right now. Get on game. You're gonna be left. You're gonna be left back. If you think something other than more is gonna save you, because there's nothing else that's gonna save you. The check at the whatever is not gonna save you. Got left the inheritance of the whatever is not gonna save you. You're gonna save you. But you have to know who you are in order to save you. And if everybody knew that we were Moors, but they didn't tell. Everybody knew, because you said 5%ers, the black whoever's, the ancient Egyptian whatever, the Hebrew, the whatever. The Moors are the only one that's talking about correct your status out of the slave jurisdiction into the free man jurisdiction. When everybody's supposed to be doing that. Everybody's supposed to be teaching that we're Moors. And then the problem solved, isn't it? Because everybody's going to be in the right status. And then once everybody's in the right status and we start dealing with each other in the right status, obviously it's going to work. Because it works for the Chinese, doesn't it? Does it work for the Hindus and the Pakistanis and whoever else that got their little community or whatever? Everybody knows that they could go to a place where, these people are foreigners, but they have their own community here. And then they got grocery stores and their language and all this. Hey, how come they got this stuff and we don't have anything? How come? Because nationality. That's all. And just look around you. You'll see it. The people who are the nationals, they get to do certain things and they get treated a certain way. The people who aren't, take what you get. No. Because nationality is still the order of the day. If there's still people who say that they're Negro, black, colored. So if they're Negro, black, colored, now think about this. They're Negro, black, colored. This is what they think. And then there's an institution that's set up for you to go there and get out of the Negro, black, colored into the status that's supposed to be, what's going to save you. Now, remember we're talking about the influence of the Moors dealing with individuals being sent in order to take you away from what this is actually supposed to be about when you look at it. So most people look at it as this is some religious whatever, which is why they could be of the frame of mind that something's wrong with it and they don't want to be part of it because they're looking at it as religious. Now you tell me if this is religious. This is Noble Drew Ali talking to all the governors, grand sheiks, and head officials of temples. By order of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he said the following thing during our very first convention. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that the Moorish Science Temple of America was organized to play a useful and defining part in the advancement of the sacred obligation of American citizenship, as the Moorish Divine and National Movement was founded for the uniting of the Asiatic states of North America on May 1st, 1916, as this will have been our very first convention and most interesting one ever held in this city. It was featured by delegates from 15 different states, from local branch temples and subordinate temples, which have been established for the uplifting of fallen humanity. During this, our first convention, in sessions specific of general work and civil accomplishments, were reported by the grand sheiks of each branch temple and subordinate temple, as each grand sheik was required to give a reporting of his temple and the governor and in the continued growth and development of the divine movement. As each grand sheik gave their report about the growth of business and enterprises of the example of the collective efforts show that the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America and their leaders have enacted a sound economic program and are blazing the trail and marking the pathway over which our posterity can travel unhampered and unafraid. Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated that it must also be kept in mind that no great movement can take definite shape in 2 or 3 years so as to be error-proof. Prophet Noble Drew Ali further stated, however, through accumulating experience, each annual convention ought to bear witness a more perfect and wider functioning organization, representing the organized experience of men and women members throughout the country and possibly in time the world over. And continuing, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, constructive criticism from sympathetic friends in and outside of our ranks is welcome. That sound like religion to you? Now you tell me if that sounds like religion. And if you think that this, what we just read from Noble Drew Ali, sounds like religion, then somebody played you. Because the only way you're thinking is that off. That Noble Drew Ali himself told you that this is about business and enterprises. This is about citizenship. Never once was religion mentioned. So you can't look at this the same as you look at the religious or whatever, because this is not that. Don't look at this like Nation of Islam because you see, Moors with bow ties and you're seeing them in bow ties or something. We're not the same. And don't think because they have all the enterprises and stuff like that means that they're the ones that are, no it doesn't, because it's in a dead status. They're Negro black colored. They're property. They got IRS papers that they file. What are you talking about? They got accountant and all that. What they got accountant for? Deliver taxes? For taxes, right? Well, if they're a lost foundation and all that stuff, then why are they paying taxes to a foreign European as an organization? Right? It's not religion. Noble Drew Ali told you what it is in the convention minutes. That's public record. Why? Because Moors made it public record. Because the traitors will keep it hidden from you and have you think this is some religious thing. Asiatic states of North America? What's he talking about? Whoever told you about Asiatic states of North America before, other than Noble Drew Ali? Why would there be Asiatic states of North America? Never wonder. Why would there be Asiatic states in North America? And again, we have to give honors to Taj Tarik Bay, who always kept Noble Drew Ali up front. And never was it about him and his name and the popularity, the fame and nobility that he has as a master teacher. It was never about that. It was always about the people getting this information. Always. 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 These people are sent people to divert you from the self-determination aspect that Noble Drew Ali brought. They don't want you to go there. So if you get self-determined, you start realizing that you better start getting with your own. You better start getting with your own. Start recognizing your own. You keep recognizing fictions, you're going to be in issues. Because fiction's not going to be there forever. The fiction will sell you out.
You know, let me ask you this. I forget where it's stated, but I remember it's being stated you don't flaunt your status, right? You don't flex that muscle. You know, if you get pulled over by the cop, you don't let the cop. It's not your place to let him to remind him of. You know,
don't flash your card
yes.
to the Europeans. It's for your salvation.
And I'm asking because you are up to date with the rise of the Moors.
Now, before we go into that, let's just put this, and that's just, you know, you can't make this up that we just mentioned rise of the Moors, and then rise of the Moabites gets on the thing. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. FYI. This is real time. We can't make this up. Right? Only Moors know how crazy that is. Only Moors know how crazy that is. Honors to the Prophet. Prophet warns all Muslims, governors, ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical and agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. Let's just stop there. So, that's where they're making reference to. This proclamation that was supposed to be read every meeting, where Noble Drew Ali told these Moors stop flashing their cards at Europeans, because the history of it is at that time there were these issues going on for the leadership. This is January 1929. This is at the end of his reign. This is not in the beginning. This is to the end with him realizing what's happening within the movement, the treason happening inside the movement, amongst the governors and the grand sheiks and the heads of the temples. So he put them on notice January 15th, 1929. I see what you people are trying to do. Those who are faithful, don't be like them and be showing your card or whatever like that. You just stop showing it because it's for your salvation. At that time, in this time, if these highwaymen pull up on you and they're about to beat your ass if you don't tell them who you are, you better have some ID to show them that shows that you're part of a nation. You better have some paperwork or something like that to put them on notice at that point that, hey, I'm not in you guys' jurisdiction. I don't know what you're trying to do, but just so you know, I'm not in your jurisdiction. My nationality is Moorish American. 2 pieces, even better. Because these Europeans will kidnap you. Under some you didn't give them your name and all that BS. You got time for all that stuff there? You got time for all that? You better have something to show to these Europeans if they pull up on you. You better have something to show. Because that's what qualifies you. Because that's rights of indigenous people. You have a right to self-identity. So Drew Ali saying, European, don't flash your cards at the European and cause confusion. Right now, you're going to give them nationality card and they're going to be confused. So what's this? I've never seen this before. Oh, this is interesting. Yes, they're going to be confused. Because the card is for your salvation. Yes, it is. At this time, Europeans will kidnap you. And what's even greater is when you have the ID on you, but you don't need to present it. You can speak based on your knowledge. That's when you really know that this is where it's at. When you don't need the Google and you can do it in books, that's when you know. So yes, there is the idea that Noble Drew Ali presented to Moors. Don't stop flashing your cards at the Europeans. But he was doing that at that time to protect the Moors who were with him. That, whether he already talked to the highwayman or whatever like that, told him, hey, the Moorish Americans are not going to be showing you anything. Anybody who shows you something, those guys are the traitors, or whatever the case is. Right? That was for that time. At this time, you have your nationality card. You have your nationality papers. You better be putting these people on notice. Because if you haven't seen, they kidnap people, even if you have ID. But it's all about it being on the record, regardless of what they do, that you're not their ward. I don't care what they're going to do. We're gonna look at this for real.
Your status, right? You don't flex that muscle. If you get pulled over by the cop, you don't let the cop. It's not your place to let him remind him of,
Don't flash your cards
Yes.
to the Europeans. It's for your salvation.
And I'm asking because you are up to date with the rise of the Moors. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Were they doing too much?
I saw the brother and you guys having a discussion yesterday, and so I have to answer this carefully because I have been to take it back. Let me take it back a bit. I had come in contact with Jamal in 2017,
Okay.
and he had reached out to me about the Supreme Grand Council. No, sorry. Let me focus, okay? Love you, man. Sorry. in 2017, he reached out to me regarding the Supreme Grand Council. And he said, summarizing and paraphrasing it, yeah, we do need to get that back on track. I feel we should put this letter out. We should make a vote, but we just need to get started because, we've been slacking on that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I feel you. I love the energy. However, I think we would make a mistake if we try to go too fast and just get things done.
Okay.
And my position was, first and foremost, let's educate and inform everybody on what the Supreme Grand Council is, how it functions, what are the roles and responsibilities so that everybody is clear, and then we can figure out how to.
Why you just go ask Noble Drew Ali? You're talking off the cuff. How we just don't go to Noble Drew Ali? Moorish literature, once again, because, Moorish tried to hide what this was really about. Pretend like this isn't what it is. Again, this is going back to convention and what was being organized. And this part's relative to this thing about Supreme Grand Council. People keep playing like they don't know what's going on. During this convention period, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said on the 17th of October that he was going to appoint 7 men tried and true and accepted by you. And on the very next day, Noble Drew Ali stepped forward from one of the chamber rooms and declared that he now had his number, and said that the grand body had accepted his choice in setting of the Supreme Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and Prophet Noble Drew Ali also declared that their duties in conjunction with that of the grand body, which consists of all executive rulers, chief rulers, and governors. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that both are to work hand in hand with each other, and those who act as a Supreme Council duties were to continue on with each other, and those who act as in a Supreme Council duties were to continue on with the day-to-day functions of this divine movement, while the grand body was to intercede that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was the law and at the head of his divine movement. Now the Prophet Drew Ali announced that the following adept chamber members would be seated in the Supreme Grand Council. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Supreme Head and Supreme Chairman. Brother Edward Mealy L., Supreme Grand Sheikh and Grand Governor, Temple Number 1. Brother James Lomax Bey, Supreme Grand Governor and Grand Governor, Temple Number 4. Brother Richard Ross Bey, Temple Number 1. Brother Claude Green Bey, Supreme Business Manager, Temple Number 1. Brother Blackwell Bey, Temple Number 1. Sister Pearl Drew Ali, Supreme Grand Secretary, Temple Number 1. So that was the foundation of the Supreme Grand Council. Right? That was the foundation. Now today, they got a website, moorsciencetempleofamerica.org, Supreme Grand Council. And if you want to find out anything about Supreme Grand Council, why don't you just go to them? They're right there. They're right there. Now keep in mind that after me, Ely L, now the sellout comes in now. Because Mealy L was the last one. Mealy L was the last one. And the same thing they did with Bailey L. Just wait for him to transition, so he can take it over. You can't remove him from office. But, you know, you could just wait. You just hold out. Right. That's how they do it. Because once you're in the seat, you know, you're good to go. You're taken care of. But everything that they have now is flags backwards, ink on it, people naturalizing. It's been messed. Which is why Brother Jamal went to Cliff. That's why Brother Jamal even went to him about setting up our own Supreme Grand Council. Because these people are full of BS. And he's talking about, yeah, slow down or whatever. Why? Why wouldn't you? Which is why you had a conversation after that with Grand Sheikh Kudro, who said, Marv, ain't nobody in your territory who's doing anything Moorish, and you want to do something Moorish? Then you put the prophet up front and do something Moorish. That's when they started Rise of the Moors. And then Rise of the Moabites right there, they could verify. Because what the hell are you talking about? He's ex-Marine. He's brought up in their stuff. Why do you think they're mad now? Claim he violated their oath and stuff like that when he didn't, because he declared his nationality. So you can't really do anything to Latimer because that's not him. Big mad. Took all the stuff that he learned, gave it to his people. Big mad. And then they took it out on everybody else who they kidnapped, or anybody else who says that they're Rise of the Moors. Now Ayanga Bay's queen pin of Rise of the Moors and all this. Because what do we say? Because it's a campaign. Because if you go on IMHH Temple, and then all the videos that you see is Rise of the Moors, diss videos, it's a campaign. People are sent to lead you astray. People are sent to lead you astray. It's a campaign against Rise of the Moors, just like the campaign against Taj Tarik Bay. It's a campaign. It's a papal bull. How's that? There's a papal bull out that Taj Tarik Bay, Rise of the Moors, and anybody who affiliates with them and knows them are sovereign citizen Moors, paper terrorists, and they don't, anti-government and all that. And then there are people who are carrying out the papal bull of whoever created the bull, because we know that it's been a campaign over the last how much ever months. It's been a campaign against these Moors. More so now, because now you have modern Europeans getting in on the slander libel campaign, that we can't really do anything because they're doing it under a Moorish page, and they're playing like they're Moors. And remember, it's all just to cause confusion. Because if once the people are confused and say, forget that Moorish thing, because, and then they say whatever it is that makes them not want to be part of it, The European did their job perfectly, because they didn't have to do anything. They had these idiots over here who's supposed to be pushing Rise of the Moors, who's supposed to be pushing Taj Tarik Bay. That's if they were presenting them instead of presenting the BS, we wouldn't be in some certain situations that we're in. Because they would have the people behind their message. You go ask any other national who has national leaders, what do people do? Don't the people support them 100? Don't the people support them 100? Go check anywhere. Go check anywhere and show me their national leader. I bet everybody backs them. Right? They should be pumping Rise of the Moors, but no, they're gonna talk crazy. They're gonna talk crazy. Wait, watch this out. Watch this.
Get it back functioning properly. And the reason I was saying to go about that is so that if we don't inform everybody and everyone isn't included as a nation or as a collective of people, then some group or one of the temples could say, well, they didn't include us, so we're not recognizing the Supreme Grand Council. And we have the same issue that we have now, where there's different Moor science temples, and this group says they're official, and that group says they're official. This group has a Supreme Grand Council, and that group, and that's not how it's supposed to be. What ended up happening is he kind of just disregarded and started his own organization, the Rise of the Moors, and kept pushing on there. Fast forward, I had kind of lost track. I was kind of caught up in my own life, and I became aware of the guns and the demonstrations. So then I started to make warning videos, expressing, hey, Moors do not follow this example. We should not be doing this. It's very dangerous. It could get people investigated. It can get people possibly arrested and in prison. And that's where a lot of hostility, that's where that kind of came from between the Rise of the Moors organization and myself. I precursor all that to say that once they got arrested, I felt it was a duty and an obligation for me to try to cover.
The ancient Egyptians understood that they could use sound to reduce their weight.
The story from a journalistic standpoint. Right. And so since I've been doing that, I've been trying my best to keep my opinion about their activities off of my channel and trying my best to limit what I say, because I don't want to make people feel biased if they're watching for the news updates.
Gotcha.
So I say all of that to say, just to get at that caveat or that clarification. But to answer your question, in my humble opinion, I do not think their actions was wise or righteous or just on a common sense level, a very smart thing to do for a number of reasons. And when you start to look at the details of what happened, one question I was asked this question, and I was just like, I never really thought about that. If they had time to fill up their extra gas tanks in case they ran out of fuel, why didn't they just simply fill the tanks of the actual cars? Like, how would you go to the gas station, fill up the extra gas tanks, but no one says, hey, did we check the cars and see if they're full?
Gotcha.
That, to me, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
And then moving forward, when you see the footage, when the police officers approaching him, they had their weapons on their body, which, I understand people's position in terms of the law, and they feel the Second Amendment and they have the right to bear arms. But from a common sense level, I would think you may want to at least look at the laws of the state that you're going to be traveling through.
Right.
And had you done that, you probably or should be, I would think, aware that it's illegal to have those kind of guns or firearms in that state. In that particular state, they're very strict on guns.
Minutes after 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse appeared to fatally shoot 2 people at a Black Lives Matter protest, he walked away, hands in the air, seemingly surrendering to the police. But the police let him walk by. We reviewed hundreds of incidents from around the country since protests began in May, and found that at times, police officers gave the benefit of the doubt to armed far-right groups and individuals, which can embolden vigilantes and lead to violence. Far-right armed groups have been on the rise for decades, but in 2020, they started showing up to protests in large numbers.
Take your goddamn mask off, and y'all can go play your gun wars back down that way.
These groups have diverse causes, including white supremacy and opposition to the federal government. Some extremists have even threatened and been arrested for killing police officers. But we found that armed groups still sometimes got a pass from the police.
Your Mountain Dew's right here. I brought you something as well. You do it this way. All right?
There were nearly 8,000 Black Lives Matter protests across the country this summer. The vast majority were nonviolent, researchers say. But our analysis of visual evidence found that many were met by counter-protesters all over the United States, who were often armed. The Times reviewed news reports, social media videos, and data sets, and found that far-right groups and other individuals brought weapons to Black Lives Matter protests at least 100 times this year. Some Black Lives Matter protests turned violent. And in Portland, Oregon, an Antifa activist is suspected of killing a far-right Trump supporter. But we found that overall, most of the armed protests were on the right. While many states allow people to carry guns openly, there are laws that prohibit armed groups from intimidating people with weapons, illegally guarding property, or impersonating law enforcement or the military. Many law enforcement agencies have made efforts to curb militias and eliminate paramilitary affiliation in their ranks. But we found multiple instances where police instead took a hands-off approach to armed groups, and in extreme cases, even seemingly affiliated or coordinated with them. The most common response we saw was a permissive attitude to armed groups. In Yucaipa, California, in June, a crowd of people, many of them armed and some affiliated with far-right groups, claimed to be guarding the streets. They broadcast their movements on social media.
We've got snipers on the roofs, all on these roofs. I got 120 rounds right there in case something goes on.
They falsely believed the town was under siege by Antifa activists because of disinformation spread online.
You're not from this town.
Some wore symbols from anti-government movements, like the 3 Percenters, as seen here. When Black Lives Matter protesters arrived, individuals from the right-wing crowd confronted them.
We live here. I live here. Hey guys, come on, no.
The protesters were beaten.
Michael got him. Damn.
And tased.
Joe.
A police officer was sitting in a car about 200 feet away and did not intervene.
Police right here. Yucaipa police officer right here. Ain't doing nothing.
In a statement, the Yucaipa Police Department said that it was, quote, extremely busy with calls that night, and that when officers arrived to the scene, no victims wanted to press charges. They later arrested one man who was charged with misdemeanor assault. Some officers took things a step further and seemed to openly affiliate with armed groups, like this scene in Philadelphia in June. In one part of the city, a group of men with bats and axes confronted Black Lives Matter protesters, and in another, uniformed police officers posed for pictures with armed civilians.
Here at the Philadelphia Police, protecting the neighborhood, and yes, I have an AR-15 on me. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
In some cases, on-duty police officers wore symbols from armed far-right movements, like here in Chicago, where footage from CBS 2 News shows an officer wearing a 3 Percenters mask. The Chicago Police Department says the incident is still under investigation. And in Orange County, California, an officer wore patches from the anti-government Oath Keepers movement and 3 Percenters. The Orange County Sheriff's Office said the symbols are prohibited, and that it's conducting an internal investigation. We found other officers who posed with armed groups and people associated with anti-government organizations. In several encounters, police officers seemed to have a supportive relationship with armed groups. Like in Virginia, where a police chief shook hands and shared a drink with an armed man wearing a shirt associated with the anti-government Boogaloo movement ahead of a planned protest.
Support your right to free speech.
I want you to uphold the Constitution. That's what I want you to do.
We have to keep people safe.
The police chief later said he was trying to de-escalate the situation ahead of a planned protest.
Support your right to free speech.
I want you to uphold the...
Ahead of a planned protest.
Support your right to free speech.
I want you to uphold the Constitution. That's what I want you to do.
We have to keep people safe.
The police chief later said he was trying to de-escalate the situation. In Michigan, one county sheriff appeared with a member of an unlawful paramilitary group who would later be charged with material support for terrorism for plotting to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The sheriff told a reporter that the men had the right to make a citizen's arrest.
A lot of people are angry with the governor. They want her arrested.
He later said he wasn't defending their actions. In a few instances, we found visual evidence of police officers seemingly working with armed groups, blurring the line between armed civilians and the police. During protests in Louisville, the Oath Keepers, a paramilitary group opposed to the power of the federal government, that recruits retired military and law enforcement officers, called for members from surrounding states to provide protection.
We need to qualify now. We have a good number of skilled veterans already prepared, both military and law enforcement, and firefighters and etc. But we need more.
Here are the Oath Keepers documenting their operation and soliciting new recruits on YouTube.
This is Oath Keepers. We're on the ground in Louisville, Kentucky.
They explain their relationship with the police.
As always, we coordinate closely with local law enforcement. You know, we're not in allegiance with them. We're not formally aligned. No one should lose their mind over that. But we do, of course, contact them, let them know where we're going to be, how to identify our people, how to reach our leadership.
This type of coordination can make it unclear who's policing the streets. In September, a group of armed civilians in Oregon gathered, claiming to protect their community after disinformation spread that Antifa was starting wildfires. Here's a sheriff's deputy in Clackamas County talking to a group of armed civilians.
I am on your side, people. I am I would represent anybody either.
The deputy even suggested how they could cover up a shooting. He was placed on leave, disciplined, and later retired. Experts told us that law enforcement's sometimes lenient approach to armed groups can create an environment in which these groups believe they have the backing of the state, are subject to a different set of rules, and might even be justified taking violent action. As Americans grapple with how to push for police reform, the events of 2020 suggest the country has another problem on its hands. An increasingly blurred line between armed groups and the police.
So to me, it's like, is that the wisest move to do? You know what I mean? Was that necessary to do?
They asked the Europeans, was it necessary? How come they didn't ask Rittenhouse? Was it necessary to shoot that guy? Is it necessary to shoot that guy? Is it necessary the highwaymen to have those? No questioning them. But as soon as Moors want to do for themselves and have their own, it was a problem. They have nothing to say to the Europeans that have their militia. Nothing. Nothing to say. 0 words. No videos. Nothing. Not one word about these Europeans having a militia. Moors have a militia. The Moorish militia is going to go train wherever they're going to go train. They're in their own land. This is Morocco. They're in their own land as Moors. They're in their own Asiatic states as Moors. And you're talking about gas tanks and all this stuff. What's that? What's that have to do with anything? Because we still want to know where the probable cause is. You still want to know what the probable cause is. Before anything else, you want to know what the probable cause was for the hoopla. What was the hoopla? Shutting down highways both ways and all this, and no shots fired, nothing. And then kidnap people, have them kidnapped for months, and then letting them go on bail when you could have just did that from. I thought they were dangerous and they couldn't get out. So what's going on here? I thought the dangerous hearing went negative, so they're not supposed to get bail. Now they're getting bail. How are they getting bail if the you still think that somebody's not playing games? Like you really don't think someone's playing games with you? How are they getting bail now? Why didn't you just give them bail from the beginning? If they're going to let them out anyways, why hold them for 9 months? Why? What's the purpose? For what? What's the purpose? Oh, because it's a campaign to get you to look at the Moors as, oh, if that's going to happen to me, if I say I'm a Moor, then I'm not going to be a Moor because I'm not going to get arrested. And it was a campaign. It was a campaign to make you look at it just like that. Yeah. Why aren't they locking up the Europeans with guns or whatever? How come just the Moors? Because it's a campaign against the Moors. That's why. Europeans get away with everything else. Why wouldn't they be able to get away with carrying guns and stuff? Like, come on, stop it. Don't they get away with everything else too? So what do you mean? Why aren't they locking them up? You guys making deals to run numbers. As soon as brothers start running numbers, now everybody's mad. Bring crack in. You can't be mad because you can master anything. Yeah, that's a good one. This could be you campaign. Trying to have you think negative about Moors because of these Moors who were going camping. And they came out their rides with the arms. Highwaymen came up to them, had conversations, sitting back, just like you see them doing with them. So what was the issue? Why is there some panic from somebody? Identified himself. They identified themselves. Just going camping, putting gas in. Oh, you need some help? Let me help you with that gas right there. Where you guys going to? Oh yeah, we're just going over to the address or whatever. Oh, all right, cool. How long you guys gonna be there for? Oh, probably a few hours. We'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. Right, well, just be careful because in this state, you might not get me. You might get some clown over here. Who doesn't understand the constitutional right and all of that stuff, you know what I mean? So, if you get stopped again, just keep the stuff in the car so you don't have any issues with, some dingbat out here trying to prove something. Because obviously you're not a threat because my gun's not drawn. I didn't call for it. You know what I mean? There's obviously no issue here. And there would be nothing to talk about. Had to be a campaign. Had to be. Because if it's some Europeans, as we just saw, it's not an issue. If it's some Europeans, it's not an issue. So why is it an issue with Moors? Why people got something to say? Why you got an opinion? No opinion to these Europeans who got arms? Oh, how about no opinion to the highwaymen who are siding with the European militias? You got no words to them? Oh, but as soon as Moors say Moorish militia, now they're gonna get up in arms. Pun intended. So know that these people are sent. Right? They're sent. Do not let the slander people have you turn away from your Moorish birthright. Don't let them do it. Don't let them make you turn away from your Moorish birthright. Don't let them do it. Because it's the land of opportunists right now. Right? Everybody got a Cash App. The Cash App and all they do is sit at the house. They don't have nothing in the building or nothing at the business where they're at. They're just at the house. Everywhere, every video. 5 years at the house. Nothing showing what they're doing in real life. Like nothing showing. These are the Moors that are the problem. Right? These opportunist Moors, whether they're opportunists for the fame and nobility, whether they're opportunists for the finance, whatever it is. This is about uplifting fallen humanity. Our people are messed up. Why wouldn't you be doing something to help them? And then what you already know they can't pay rent because rent's crazy right now. You're gonna tell them $3,500? Now how bold are you to tell somebody $3,500 for them to say they're a Moor and get out of whatever BS they got themselves into? $3,500. And there's not any guarantee that stuff's gonna work or anything like that. This is just off the top, that's what the service is. Right? And they tell you, we honor the 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and they have no noble Drew Ali there. They're a fraud. Don't listen to them. If they show you symbols that you see Moors use, but they don't mention noble Drew Ali, don't take these people serious. They're opportunists. They're about to take all your finance. Right? And more so, you're gonna give it to them. Much less take it. Because we've been telling people that they're out here playing you out of your stuff. They're out here playing you out of your stuff. Right? Redemption weekend and all this. You're gonna learn about estate planning and status correction. 600. That's just the weekend general admission. The VIP is 1,000. 1,000. You're gonna go VIP sitting, VIP gift bag, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the event of the whatever. I thought this sounds like some amusement park stuff. This doesn't sound like learning about that I'm a Moor. This sounds like Disney World. How come this sounds like Disney World? With candied apples and stuff like that. Rise of a nation. Yeah? Anybody you see using rise, know they're jacking rise of the Moors. Know that. Anytime you see them rise anything, no. That is straight jacking. Especially when Moors do it. Rise of the something, know that. Because they want you to, they want it to feel familiar to you. They want it to feel familiar. They don't want you to feel, you know, that it's weird that you're paying $3,500 to get out of some situation. That has to feel normal. And we get the calls of the people who paid the $3,500. Right. Oh yeah, yeah. Right, they have nothing to say about the dress code. They have nothing to say about the dress code of these Europeans. Nothing to say. The Moors get kidnapped, and then other Moors take up the mantle, but in a different arena. The same way that, you know, RV Bay publication site went down for some hours or something, and Moorish consular court went into action and started telling everybody, come to them. You know, bring your attention this way now, since your attention where it was at, you know, distracted. It's the same way. Moorish consulate, again, jack the dress code. Black fez and vests and all that. Badges, which would imply arms and all that stuff. You know. See more get kidnapped, all of a sudden here they come. Dressed like them. You know. It's all a campaign. To keep you confused. Don't be confused. That was the Moorish militia. The Moorish militia was founded by Moors, who are ex-whatever, just like the European, whatever, ex-military, whatever that they are. Nobody questions them, has any questions about anything. Same way the Moors have ex-military guys, who after they left military, they found about their nationality and their birthrights, they proclaimed their nationality, and now all that stuff that they were taught, were trained, were ordered to do, whatever like that, that all now becomes intellectual property of the Moor. Big mad. Big mad. Yep. Yep. Big, super duper mad. Because Moors are taking what they were taught, that good European education, and being used by Noble Drew Ali. Have them mad. I got that good European education. Went to Marines and all that. Got medals and all that. And then all that intellectual property goes to Moors now? Big mad. Mad. You're not supposed to take that and give it to your nation. You're supposed to be our ward. No, let me be a ward for my nation. How about that? Instead of being a ward for you colonists, I'm going to be a ward for my nation. Big mad. Why are you mad? Don't get mad. Be happy that we're not Negro, black, colored. That we're taking our place amongst the affairs of men. That's what the Europeans did, a Declaration of Independence, wasn't it? Articles of Association, isn't that what they did? Are you mad? You're mad at Moors? Moors are doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not even for guns and all that stuff. I'm not pro guns or whatever. What I see is idiot adults have children blowing their brains out playing with stuff. How you even find that? So I'm not even in guns like that. But I get it. When you talk about Moorish militia and all that stuff, hell yeah. What do you mean? Of course you need shooters. What are you talking about? Everybody else has them. Why are you mad when Moors are doing it? And it's not we're talking about some dummy Moors. We're talking about people who were ex-Marines or whatever. They're professional. They know what they're talking about. The guy, walking down the street, found a gun in a bag and started shooting at stuff. Let's not be naive now. Come on now. Let's not take this thing overboard now. Like, come on now. Let's not take this overboard. No need. Why could everybody else do it but Moors can't do it? Why? Why can't Moors do it? All these Europeans doing it. Nobody has anything to say. They can let them do whatever. This is not even their land. How they could do it? And Moors, who this is their land, they can't do it. That makes sense to you? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm confused. Peace and love to all the Moors. Happy Holy Day. Happy Holy Day to all the Moors. Honors to all the Moors. Right. Oh yeah, and this one too.
I got curious because there's this one brother on Instagram. I will not name him. I won't say who he is. But I wanted to know what he charged for consultations. Sly, do you know that this... Okay, guess how much he charged me. Or he was going to charge me.
A couple grand.
Less than that, but still.
Okay, so one guy that I know, because I played the same experiment, but he's not associated with the Moor Science Temple. He's I think I know what you're talking about. He quoted me $1,500.
Well, he quoted me $750 for like an hour or something like that.
Wow.
Okay. $750 an hour. $750 an hour? And you're not calling them out? $750 an hour is as bad as the pedo trying to touch one of your family members. And you find out who it is, and you ain't say anything. You let the pedo touch your family member and you said nothing? 1,500 they hit you for? And you didn't put their plaster their face on a billboard? So the world knows, don't go to these people, don't listen to these people. Right? Why do y'all protect these opportunists? Why? Islam, because I have kuth. You don't have to agree with the technique at all. Nobody is asking you to. But I strive to abide by the Constitution that Noble Drew Ali left for us, and I specifically had Act 3 in mind when I started this interview. This is that religious stuff. This is that religious Moor Science Temple stuff that these people are playing games with you. This is not a religion. Well, you have to be a good Muslim and all this. This is not religion. This is, our whole stuff's been sold out, and the sellouts are still around today, having people with these mindsets that they're gonna see traitors, and they're talking about Act 3 as if divine constitution and bylaws applies to somebody who's charging 1,500. That's not your brother. That's a traitor. How are you telling me a traitor? A traitor is going to be held to divine constitution and bylaws. The fact that they're a traitor lets you know that they can't be held to it. They're not part of it if they're violating it. To be a leader, you have to behave better than everyone else. Don't expect me to speak like everyone else online. This is not about speaking about anybody else online. This is about some individual out here told you $750 an hour. Who charges that for something? Who charges that? And the most you could do is say, oh my gosh, he was overcharging me for some stuff or whatever like that. And you didn't call them out? You just let them slide? Obviously, they're going to go do it to other people. Tell them $750 an hour. And that's cool. That you knew there was evil because you went down that path and saw that there was evil down there, and you let people pass you and go down that path there still? And you're telling me about I don't have to agree with the technique. You're not talking about no techniques. It's not a DJ battle. What techniques you talking about? You brought up somebody said somebody charged you $750 an hour for some Moorish birthrights. And you know that's that. Besides, you already know I said what they're doing is detrimental to the movement. I don't endorse that activity at all, and I stated that in the video. Why don't you post the positive points I made? Why won't you help your brother? I've never spoken against what you do, even if I disagree. Why? How could you speak against what I do? You're 3 years in this or something. You ain't know anything about this. You're a fetus. You think because you're with some Moorish Science Temple of America people that you're getting this info? Moorish Science Temple sold out everybody. There's but 3 temples probably that from the head all the way down to the secretary and whoever else is legit, on point. You know, no $750 an hour. No talking crazy about Taj Tarik Bay and RV Bay publications. None of that. Who's going to talk against what we're saying? What you mean? Allah sent us. There's not some Grand Sheikh thing or whatever like that. Grand Sheikh said this is going to happen. Or Allah manifested this. That's why people can't talk. Because we're foundation for this jurisdiction when it comes to Moors. Canaanland Moors is foundation for Moors. New Moors with their eyes wide open so that they know that there's a Canaanland. They're not thinking Canada and all that stuff is the jurisdiction that they're in. We're foundation here. This is ordained to be. Canaanland Moors exist because of the Moors who are here that recognize that that's where they're at. Some Moor Science Temple thing. Because of the Moors. Because the ones who wanted to know the truth about their nationality or birthrights and came and found out. And got their wig split. And some of them, it was too much. Their brain turned to water. And they went nuts. Started doing madness. Telling people 5,000 a package. You thought 3,500 was something. How about 10 grand for a package? How about 15 grand for a package? How about those astronomical numbers that we know people paid for their birthright? And what happened? We did videos and told everybody about these traitors. Called up the Law Society of Canada. Let them know about these traitors. Don't be seeing them and them thinking that they're us. Because we ain't them. Put everybody on notice of all the traitors who we engage. So you can't say you weren't told. When he comes in, well, I bought a package and then... So go call the people who you bought a package from. Because you've been told you where to go. How you end up buying a package from somebody? How? Oh, because people are looking at the opportunists. Yeah, they're looking at them. That's the example of what it's be. Brother Truth is the example of a Moor because they are a Bugatti or something. No, it's not. That's a Negro with a turban on. That's a Negro in a turban. Because these traitors are going to use the Moorish everything, not give anything back to the nation, only give to their self yourself, but claim that they're Moors. How are you Moors? You're not doing anything for the nation. You're just doing for yourself. You're just filling up your cash app, and you're not even putting any of that finance into whatever, but you got a new chain every week. Every week you got a new chain. Rings coming out now, and earrings, and start wearing makeup like the Egyptians and all this, dancing around with trannies. And you're thinking that these are your leaders? I think not. You'll find my own leaders if that's what's left. You'll find our own leaders. And only ride with those who are on the frequency. Everybody else, hey, do your thing. You know what I mean? It's your world. Whose world is this? The world is yours. So do your thing. Just don't get mad when stuff comes back around to you because you didn't listen to what the Prophet said. You didn't listen to what the Moors were saying. Honors to all the Moors. Happy Holy Day. Study the master teachers. Stop studying from these fetuses. They're gonna lead you astray. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all. Honors to all the mothers. And honors to Noble Drew Ali. Happy Holy Day, Moors. Islam.